Deezer Originals.
Hey everybody, James Root from Slipknot here, and you're listening to a track-by-track rundown of our new album, We Are Not Your Kind, right here on Deezer. You know, I'm just going to preface this with, it's kind of hard to, come up with, anecdotes or, certain things, and it's kind of hard for me personally to talk about, work that we've done. As weird as it may be, I mean, we're so attached to it, it's hard to, kind of talk about it objectively, so to speak. But hey, we'll give it a whirl because, I know every artist says that this is their favorite record, the latest one that they did, but this actually, right now is my favorite record because there's just so much energy gone into it. Anyways, off we go. So I'm going to kick it off with Insert Coin. And, it's just when we were working on this record, we had Studio 5 and Clown was in there with synth mods and, drums and all kinds of instruments, just creating art, because that's kind of what we're about, and we're able to really dive in deep to this. So, it's a very airy, open, I kind of visualize it's like the light from the UFO that's about ready to, shine down on the field and enlighten you, and that leads us into Unsainted. Kind of an intro, not just to the album, but also for Unsainted. Really cool intro, really thick sounding track, similar yet different from things that we've done before. And hey, you get a choir too. Birth of the Cruel, that was a garage demo that I had, and it was kind of a working title of Gene Wilder. I get weird. I watch TV when I'm demoing music in my garage sometimes, and Willy Wonka must have been on, or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which, of course, the Gene Wilder one is classic and never should have been redone, but that's a story for another interview on another radio station some other time. Anyways, Birth of the Cruel, yeah. I don't know. Kind of reminds me of something that could have been on the first record, at least the chorus, sickening, it's like, the music behind it, the guitars behind it, it's very moody, kind of dark, and it's kind of an example of, it's like the notes you don't play. I think I heard Paul McCartney say that before. It's like you can kind of speak more if you let the song breathe, and that's a kind of a difficult sort of thing as a guitar player. I want to fill up the space and play riffs everywhere and harmonize them and do all that stuff. So, if you're able to step outside of that and drop ego and all that stuff, then you can achieve such things. Death Because of Death. Songs from the Mind of Clown. It's very deep. Very deep arrangement. It's hard for me as a guitarist to wrap my brain around these types of arrangements because I'm very clinical when it comes to arranging music, 4 of these, 2 of those, 8 of those type of thing. Clown doesn't do that, which throws a loop into it. Plus he uses all these synth mods and all these other crazy instruments that sometimes it's just even hard to find a tuning to line up with. But it's what music should be. Open to the interpretation. Death Because of Death. Songs from the Mind of Clown. It's very deep, very deep arrangement. It's hard for me as a guitarist to wrap my brain around these types of arrangements because I'm very clinical when it comes to arranging music, 4 of these, 2 of those, 8 of those type of thing. Clown doesn't do that, which throws a loop into it. Plus he uses all these synth mods and all these other crazy instruments that sometimes it's just even hard to find a tuning to line up with. But it's what music should be. Open to the interpretation. Nero Forte, pretty straightforward, heavy tune. Also from the Mind of Clown. This is an arrangement that he brought in and we worked on over time. You just got, a lot of drums and a really cool cadence. Going to be a really cool one to play live if we ever do play it live, and then, once Corey put lyrics over it, the chorus is just so, I don't know, I love it, man. It's just a really cool, that really brought the song to life for me, given all the work that went into it. Critical Darling, pretty straightforward arrangement, the type of demo that really comes together when like the rest of the band and Corey puts lyrics on it and, kind of brings it to life. Turnaround in the pre-choruses of the choruses are really cool because the time signature doesn't change, but it feels like it does. It kind of, it has a little flip around, which is it's cool. And then it's got these breakdowns that we kind of brought over from some tunes that didn't make it to the Gray chapter. So it's cool that they were able to kind of live on through the next record. Liar's Funeral. Okay, this is my favorite track on the record. If I had to pick one, this would be it. There's just so many layers and augmented guitar chords and things, ways that I've never approached guitar playing before and putting arrangements together before. And it's a bit complex with the layering and all that and the way the guitars fit together, and maybe that's why I'm so fond of it. But, it's heavy, it's deep, it's dark, it's melodic, it's ambient. It kind of has like all the flavors and all the temperatures in one tune. The vocals also, once I heard what Corey was singing over it and the lyrical content that he brought in, it kind of blew my mind. It's pretty heavy and pretty deep. Makes you realize, in life there are no guarantees, but maybe that's what, it's a good thing to help you get to the next level, whatever that is. All right, let's get into Red Flag. Red Flag was one of those tunes that, wasn't very remarkable, wasn't even gonna really make the cut, but it does have a lot of fast, cool riffs and fun, little like trilly thing, like, I don't know, like scale runs in the holes in the tune. Chorus riff moves kind of a lot, which is really cool. But after a little bit of tweaking, it kind of revamped the verses a little bit, and that one came out of a jam with Jay, and pretty straightforward metal ripper. And what's next? Another synth mod clown segue of very cool stuff that right now is kind of experimental to us, and we play with music like this a lot, but we never really get a chance to put it on records, and this is sort of a glimpse into that and being able to do more of that hopefully in the future. And also it's a cool intro to the tune Spiders, which, this is one of my favorites. It's kind of a bit of a departure from the typical heavy or fast or metal kind of stuff that we do. There's lots of Cars, maybe Gary Newman influences with synths and stuff in there, and kind of reminds me of something, in the early 80s MTV pop world, like David Bowie Ashes to Ashes kind of era, without it really sounding like that. I don't know, it just kind of reminds me of that. And it's really fun to be able to collaborate with other guys when they come up with music like this, because it helps you think outside of the box and approach guitar playing not like you normally would. Like the guitar solo that I played in this tune is very like Adrian Belew. It's not like, running scales or doing arpeggios, or it's just bizarre, and I think it's very fitting, and I love that. That stuff that kind of just keeps you on your toes and makes you think a little bit differently, Orphan, this is one of the first arrangements that came together from a combination of garage demos and J jams, and this was the first tune that we sent to Corey for him to like put vocals and lyrics to. This is one also where we kind of had to rewrite the verses. It's it's some songs are on the chopping block until you really have the time to like spend with them, and luckily this time we had enough time to spend with them. Pretty straightforward, heavy, metal tune. It is. So yeah. Okay, continuing on. My Pain. My Pain is an interesting one because it was birthed from, this work that Clown started all the way back to the All Hope Is Gone album. At that time, we were writing extra music up the hill in the farmhouse. for another project that we had. Well, we wanted it to go into Slipknot, but it wasn't working out to like get this music into Slipknot. So it kind of came from the Her Voice sessions that you may or may not have heard Clown and I talk about in the past. Excuse me. But this is a piece of music that he'd been working on like since then, and it always kind of like it was always there, and we always kept going back to it, and he always kept diving into it and working. He's very passionate about this tune, and when an arrangement or a song is ready to show its face, it'll let you know. And luckily we had the time to put the energy into this song, and Clown really worked hard with Corey on this song to make it happen. And it's really just a beautiful evolution and piece of art that will hopefully take us to that next level in our songwriting. Not Long for This World. This is another one of my favorite ones. I like moody, kind of like melodic, kind of airy tunes, it's got a really big chorus in it, and it's another garage demo that just became epic. It's got a lot of colors and temperatures in it, and it's kind of somewhat dark, but inside that darkness there's hope in there, much like a lot of Corey's lyrics, And yeah, this tune, Not Long, yeah, okay. This tune is one of those ones that I wish we had more time to spend on it, and in some ways it kind of feels like it's a little bit incomplete to me. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because, not being able to look at it sort of objectively and all that. And maybe I had like something in my head that I just couldn't get through for the end of this tune. But, it is what it is. And it's a great tune at the end of the day. Can't complain. Solway Firth. A garage demo that kind of turned into a monster, The working title came from watching Ancient Aliens, there again, sitting in front of a television like I do, working on demos, and, I like my Ancient Aliens, and they were talking about, good old Giorgio Tsoukalos was talking about Solway Firth and that mysterious photo that was taken over there. For whatever reason, Corey decided to keep the working title, which I think is cool when he does. And this is also a tune that's like so many different elements combined into one song. It's like it has this sort of ambient, airy, kind of dark, mellow stuff with Corey's like sort of poetic kind of intro to it, but then it kicks off and it's like this sort of like straight up thrash metal or speed metal kind of vibe to the song. I mean, definitely the chorus is that way. Maybe the verses are a little bit more like kind of Slipknot, I guess. I don't know. Maybe a little bit of a tip of the hat in my mind to the music that I was very into when I was learning to play guitar, around 14, 15, 16 years old, listening to speed metal and thrash metal and, all the bands that kind of formed the way I played guitar. So it's really hard to like bring all those elements into one song and have it sort of flow without it feeling like it's very proggy, and it just like turns 180 degrees on a dime. To have that flow it's important to me to try to do that, and getting closer to do it, doing those sort of things with songs like Solway Firth.